last week on Gleeboot, Cullen got 2 nickels because it was 2 times the same 24 hours that he watched a piece of content where a sassy femme bisexual tells an old person off for being backwards. And Mercedes was Rachel's emotional support Black person. And the new characters did absolutely fucking nothing. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Yay!
Yeah. I totally forgot about like Santana and Brittany doing a thing. And I am actually glad that Mercedes brought up the emotional support Black. She kind of literally said it. I kind of died when she was like, I mentored her all last week. What does she need now? It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Best line. Why Mercedes is still in town, I don't know. Why Artie's there, I don't know. Won't be explained. Gleeboot. When we started this podcast, and I was thinking of like, oh, what guests we would have, I just immediately knew when we do season 6, episode whatever, transitioning, Nicholas would be here. He would have to be part of it. I like, that's the guest. So because we wanted to do the thing in season 6 where we brought back a bunch of people, we made Nicholas watch a season 4 episode, Feuds, so we could bring him back as a repeat guest for transitioning. Welcome back, Nick.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be back. I remember when you guys were planning out this podcast, I think I even said to, it might have been Hannah, I was like, I need to be the guest on this episode. I don't care who your other trans friends are. I'm claiming it. And I remember, I think Allyssa was there and she had never seen Glee, and so we were trying really hard not to spoil what the episode was about or who was transitioning. But I'm really glad to be back.
Yay.
We're happy to have you back on Gleeboot, the show where we get drunk and talk about rebooting Glee one episode at a time. I'm Cullen.
Alyssa.
And I'm Hannah, and we introduced Nick.
And we did it backwards.
We have some surprises left for you.
Yeah.
Shaking things up.
Trick or treat.
This episode will not be released until after Halloween. All right, so Nick, I believe we did your Glurney and your Glee boyfriend and all that last time. So I guess we can just we can talk about what we're drinking today.
Well, I do have to, my Glurney and my Gloyfriend and Glee self. I can't think of a good way to but I had to do it again. I actually remember my results from last time. The character I am is Quinn, and I did it again today. So like 2-3 years later, or whatever, I'm still Quinn. That's really crazy to me. But my boyfriend is different.
Oh,
my boyfriend last time was Finn, which not my first choice. My boyfriend this time is Kurt, which also not really my type, but
Quinn and Kurt pairing. Wow. I don't think
we've gotten, maybe I'm just remembering, I feel like we've gotten Quinn and Kurt before.
We get a lot of Quinns. I don't know about a Quinn and Kurt though.
I think so, because I remember talking about how their one interaction was like in season 1, where she was like talking about making over Rachel, and he's like, we've never spoken before, and she's like, I'm sorry about that.
Can I just quickly say that you saying that, we literally just had a Quinn and Kurt, because we just talked about that 2 weeks ago. Because I was like, they've never talked, and you're like, yeah, no, that one time. I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
So what you're saying is I'm not special.
No, you're so special.
Super special.
And you know what? We have a choir here to show you.
Yes.
A Zoom choir. We have all the celebrities who sang Imagine in 2020 here. Gal, take it away.
Oh my God, yes.
So
So yeah, what are we drinking? I'm drinking H2O, baby.
Ooh, me too. I got a big ass water bottle too.
Nice.
I'm drinking water and Coke Zero.
Oh boy.
Spicy.
I'm drinking water and Surge, which is something I've never heard of. It's a White Claw hard seltzer, blood orange. But apparently it's like...
It's more alcoholic.
No.
Really good.
It's 8%.
Yeah. White Claws are 5.
Oh, okay. It's more alcoholic.
We bought Surge when it first came out and I hated it. What do you think of it?
It's kind of gross.
Thank you. Okay. I thought I was just crazy. I'm like, I figured like more alcohol is going to be great. This is bad.
Definitely not sponsored. Definitely not.
This is leftover. This is not mine. It was in the fridge, I think, from the person who moved into this apartment before me.
Oh my God.
That's interesting. But you know what? I'm sure it would have tasted the same even if you just got it off the shelf.
For sure. I mean, it's in a can. Like, they don't go bad.
So, do you remember the drink Surge? There was like an energy drink called Surge, and I
remember that. That's what I thought she was talking about.
Yeah, I was like, they made that again?
No.
And they
Meanwhile,
made it.
I'm like, Cullen, I'm drinking a Surge right now. Do I remember it? Yes. My memory is not that bad. Okay.
No, so yeah, it was a energy drink, and I don't remember it existing, but my brother and sister are like 4 or 5 years older than me, and they're obsessed with the ads. And so, brief tangent, when we would play with toys, we had like a cinematic universe of like characters that they weren't just like, this is Spider-Man. They like had their own identity, and like the stories would interlock. And one of them, it was a Venom toy, but his name was TJ Waterhands, and he was obsessed with Surge. That was like his personality.
Man, homeschool really is something else, man.
I have some news.
Is it clues or news?
No, it's news.
Surge is back?
Yeah.
Surge's?
Like literally you can buy it. Well, it looks like it's out of stock, but it literally says like there's a website for Surge soda, surge.com.
Oh, I see this.
And it literally says Surge soda is back. But like I literally look like buy somewhere and it's like all out.
It was back in it left.
Yeah. It originally was introduced in 1997.
It's given me Nickelodeon vibes, really big Nickelodeon.
Yeah, the green and orange.
Like that slime blasting Katy Perry's face the time Nickelodeon tried to murder her.
I hate this Wikipedia entry like that Google has. So like it says introduced February 7th, 1997, 25 years ago. I'm like, I don't need a reminder for how long ago that was. That's so rude.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Oh, apparently you can buy it on Amazon. One single can only. Oh.
Interesting.
For $79.99. And there's only 4 left in stock. Order.
Oh my God, we could each get one.
We could have the last Surge on the planet.
Oh my God.
We could do an episode that's just us drinking the Surge. We're not talking about Glee. We're just talking about Surge.
It's a review of Surge.
It's actually Surge Boot.
We're gonna taste it and be like, you know what? No, this needs pepper, you know.
It needs some red dye 40, baby.
Yeah. Going green to red here. Yeah. So cool. Some Surge news for all the Surge heads out there.
Surge heads. The Sergios.
Sergio.
That's actually what you call SpaghettiOs with Surge mixed in.
I see.
Okay, so do you guys know the TikTok meme of like it started with like we're wolves on the hunt and we make eye contact?
What?
Okay, you know
what?
I hope we can get just like an image of that. It's like kind of like, you know, that TikTok, and all of us go, what?
And then it became like my friend Eliza, the one who's on the podcast, friend of the pod. She did one like where pythons on the floor of the jungle about to unhinge our jaws and devour our prey, and we make eye contact because like it plays like a romantic song. It's from like the wolfkin kind of community, and then everyone else it's kind of spiraled out. So then it's like we're Chef Boyardees rolling down the street, following someone home, and make eye contact.
Oh yeah, TikTok. I don't have. I watch TikToks though when they're sent to my phone. Cullen often does that. And then they're all over YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still in Vine compilation world. That's where I live.
I had to get rid of TikTok. It was eating my time.
No, it
monster.
It will. Like you're like, oh, so sometimes I'll be like, oh, I want to take a break, and I'm like, I should set a timer. Because otherwise I'll spend an hour on TikTok when I really meant to spend 15 minutes.
It does, like they have the videos where it's a person that's like, you've been scrolling TikTok too long. I scroll past that shit so fast. I'm like, shut up.
Fuck that.
I don't need to hear this from you. That's why I got rid of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad because they used to you couldn't see, like they didn't have your time. Like the time of day on the like TikTok covered that.
Like a casino.
Yeah, like a casino. And now it's there. So at least I know I'm wasting my life. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wasting too much. It got to the point where I was like, literally, I would just scroll in bed for hours. Not 1 hour, like 2 or 3 hours. And then I would be dead the next day. So I was like, no, goodbye.
You'll get some really stale takes on there or just takes based in no fact. Like it suddenly became a thing on TikTok that the Prince in Snow White is 32. Like it's this thing. They're like, this is so creepy. And I'm like, okay, I'm not saying you can't critique that movie, but like, where the fuck are you getting that he's 32? Like,
yeah, where are the receipts?
That's not canon.
Where's the birth certificate?
Yeah.
Okay.
The dude doesn't even have a name, let alone an age.
Yeah. Yeah, you're looking through public records.
Yeah. But the voice actor was 32. And they're like, yeah, but the voice actress for Snow White was like 28. So like, whatever.
Not that big a difference.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the voice actor for Prince Eric was 16.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, the woman who played Jodie Benson, who played Ariel, was like in her late 20s or early 30s.
Yeah.
I can't get over
16
though. That doesn't.
He does not sound 16 to me.
No.
I know.
That's crazy.
They said,
I wish
he
I
sounds
didn't
older.
know that information.
Weird.
All right. So transitioning.
What? Okay. What are the storylines?
The storylines are.
It's just Rachel.
It should be okay. We have Sheldon's storyline. That's kind of actually about Will.
Can we call him Beast? I don't know why we're calling him Sheldon suddenly when Beast has been their name for the entire show.
Yeah, they only Sue ever said Shannon, really.
Yeah. In my mind, they're still Beast. Can we still talk about them
Coach Beast.
with Beast?
Yeah.
I mean, the fact when somebody chooses their own name, like, I am into calling him Sheldon, but I kept saying Coach Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm gonna stumble over the pronouns. Just a warning, I will be stumbling over the pronouns. He decided only to change his first name, right? That we know of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's still Coach Beast, yeah.
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 And the actor playing him, Dot Marie Jones, is not trans.
Right.
Correct.
At first, when that happened in the show, I'm like, oh, maybe that happened with the actor and they wrote it in. And then I was like, oh, no.
Yep. Whereas I believe the actor who plays Unique,
Alex Newell, is gender nonconforming.
Gender nonconforming. Yep.
Okay.
Can't win them all.
I can't win them all. Yeah, I can't have a disabled person play the kid in the wheelchair.
Did Unique, like in the show, did the show decide like if Unique had because I was really confused because I was like,
my last episode was very Unique focused.
Yeah, because
And-
there was the rivalry with Ryder.
Yes. And my last, so in, what was that called? It was called
Feuds.
Yeah.
Unique. I like indirectly. It is non-binary, I guess.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think we had really, as a society,
Yes.
reached the non-binary conclusion yet.
That's a really good point. And I mean, as hilariously forced representation as Glee is, that's pretty cool that they were doing something like that with a non-binary actor
I
at
mean,
that time.
I think Alex Newell is what made that happen. I think
Right.
they had that, that was them, and the writers were inspired by that. And that's why Unique's story often feels very authentic and very emotional, because it's coming from a genuine place.
Yep.
I mean, same with a lot of stuff with Kurt, Kurt is gay, or Chris Colfer is gay, and there were gay male writers on the show, and so it feels very authentic.
Yep.
I think Britannia and Brit as a couple means a lot to people, but I also know a lot of queer women have a kind of love-hate relationship with Britannia. Some just love, and then some a love-hate. There's like Alex, who was on I Kissed a Girl, kind of has that relationship.
Right. Yeah, I just wanted to check because Lyle actually asked me, and I'm so surprised how much he remembers of the little tidbits that he has watched, because he was like, we'll talk about it, but there's a scene with Blaine and Karofsky, and I always say Karofsky, and Lyle goes, wait, Blaine is dating Dave? And I'm like, first names? What is going on? It was so That's shocking. Really but I actually was asking because he asked, he was like, well, like, what are their pronouns? I was like, I don't know if we ever got to that. I could not remember.
The episode Feuds, Unique in that episode was experiencing sometimes using he him pronouns, sometimes using she her pronouns,
right?
And I don't remember if they them was in the picture at the time, so it was very much like a gender fluid in my reading of it experience that they were representing, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, because there's like a pronoun joke later, and I'm like, oh, fuck, this like dated boomer joke. And now you saying that, I'm like, I mean, maybe it wasn't super dated.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like
now, if someone makes a joke about pronouns, I'm like, fuck, grow up. Yeah. But like then I'm like, okay, maybe.
But I also think who it comes from is Sam, and it feels genuine.
Like he Googled pronouns because he wanted
because Sam was very like into it.
This episode, as a trans person, as your token trans person, I watched this when it first came out in February 2015 as a
13 years ago.
The joke is that I thought that was 13 years ago. But that was the year that I came out as trans. That's actually my first year as my true self. And I remember, and I actually looked up a lot of reviews because I remember there being so many responses to this episode that it was forced, that it was not genuine, that it was inauthentic, that it was like constant, the pronouns jokes, the gender fluid high school joke, that one got me. That was a little stupid. But just it was such a constant reminder of, hey, we're making everything about being trans, we're making everything about gender. But there are I think there are some genuine moments in this episode, and even watching it 13 years later.
Yeah, congratulations on 13 years as your true self.
Watching it 7 years later, I've been on hormones for 7 years. I've been Nick for 7 years. There were things that really rang true to me, and that actually hit that hit right. So yeah, I mean, it's Glee, and so it kind of sucks in its own way, but a few of the trans things and gender things I was actually very touched by.
Yeah. I think the scenes, I was like, there's 1.5 scenes really from Sheldon's perspective or Coach Beast's perspective. And I think those feel like authentic. You know, I think those were like some really nice moments. I think the unfortunate thing, because we're talking about the storylines, is that Sheldon's storyline is really ultimately about Will.
Yep.
As most of Beast's storylines have been throughout the series.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say too. Like, a big piece of it is he has never been a main character in the sense of, you know, most of our castmates. He's a regular recurring character. He's always in the background, but I remember a lot of people at the time being really mad that they, you know, did this to a main character, and I was like, guys, he's not even a main character. Like, why y'all mad?
And that's like, that's actually my biggest issue, is that knowing like this character from season 2, I think is when they first appear, is like, this character is kind of like a punching bag for the show. Like with like the not being feminine enough, and then, you know, now it's like hate crimes against trans people. And so like my biggest issue with this is it feels disingenuous to me that they took a character who has been a punching bag in the past and then having them transition and then using them as a punching bag again. And so it's like, that's what really annoys me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this really highlights, especially Sue's character, sums it all, like solidifies it. How I think the show is almost aware of it now, but it's like we're in too deep. How they kind of vacillate between really mocking identities and then supporting them, and how they want to kind of do it both ways, and how it kind of started because in 2009, like being, when the show started, like being gay was like new and not new and controversial, but kind of seen as like that kind of representation was not as common as it is now, and was very edgy. And so in order to kind of make it palatable, they had to have a lot of gay jokes, you know, like.
Interesting.
And so now we're in 2015, and the cultural landscape has changed a lot, and part of that is because of Glee. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I think the thing is when Sheldon gets hate crimed, they use the word, the T word.
Wasn't gonna say it. Yeah.
The T word. Yeah. And then Sue is like, that's so offensive and horrible, and then in turn calls Sheldon newly boobless.
Yeah, and then also like, we're already jumping in the episode. We haven't
newly boobless. I don't know. I laughed at that.
I think that like, I was confused. I was like, okay, Sue is like all of a sudden super supportive of this teacher. But when a student was going through, you know, whatever gender things that Unique was going through, literally like puts a porta potty in the middle of the choir room. And we were like, that feels like really offensive and like picking at this person. And like, but now she cares.
I read a review on this episode about how there was very little conflict in that everybody was except for that one little asshole from
Vocal Adrenaline.
Yeah, what Clint?
Yeah, I learned his name.
Nasty boy. Apart from him, everybody was like pretty okay with everything.
A very ideal situation.
Well, though, I feel like the weird thing about this episode in particular, or maybe not even this episode, but just the way that ideas come across now is through Sue. I mean, this is a problem because Sue is incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's supportive of her friend, because it has been established that they're friends.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I would agree that they're friends, you know, like I actually like that relationship. I think it's like sweet to watch.
I agree.
But I don't think that Sue would be supportive of her friend transitioning. So I think a better storyline here would be Sue learning about transitions through her friend and then like making an actual consistent character arc.
Yeah, something about maybe Sue doesn't want to use the right name or pronouns, or it's just
you know, flip what I said, because that was about Sue and I would rather it be about Coach Beast.
Yep.
So
that's what I was gonna snap call you on. Good job.
Yeah, because like this episode is called Transitioning, and the only person who is actually transitioning is Rachel.
Yeah, because Beast has transitioned.
And it's not even about him readjusting. It is specifically about like being hate crimed almost. Like it's so strange.
And we'll have to actually go and break down the storyline like we usually do.
Nah.
But like, I think the wild thing is that it's like they're being transphobic for attention. They're not actually transphobic. Like they're doing it.
A really big point. Yeah.
Which is really interesting if they like there's an interesting conversation with their like tying into a lot of modern politicians, like the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world who make this big deal about screaming about pronouns and like gay marriage, but yet also have multiple affairs and end up divorced. Like these people kind of spout hateful things to get attention.
And hateful things that they think are based on a moral superiority.
Yeah, but they don't actually really believe in the like they're trying to get in touch with a certain moralistic crowd, but they don't actually. I mean, Trump, like, how is he the Christian savior? Yet now, because he's spouting these hateful things for attention, he can fit into that role, even though, like,
icky.
Yeah.
It's important narratively that we see the I can't remember the name of the I keep wanting
Vocal
to
Adrenaline?
I literally want to say the new transitions.
We'll should change their name to the new transitions.
Yes. The vocal adrenaline.
Yeah. Vocal adrenaline.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole other thing, but we see and hear them like they have an entire scene where they are planning what they're going to do, and they discuss that they're going to do this not with the intention of it's kind of funny, like not with the intention of hurting somebody's feelings, but with the intention of pissing off
the new directions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that is different than if we the audience hadn't seen that moment, that part of the plot, and they had just painted the T word on the truck, and right, like then it would have a very different intention. It would have a very different delivery. It would mean something different. It's still very hurtful. I've seen the episode before and I totally blocked that out. And when I saw it again, I like gasped. Like it hurt me. But it does have a different effect because, well, just that part of the story, the transphobia in the story is weird because it's motivated and
it's performative.
Yeah, it's
so
which
weird.
Which is almost like really intelligent of
yeah
to have done.
They're
It's
like so
very
close
weird
to like a really interesting storyline, especially about things like homophobia and transphobia now, and how a lot of it feels more performative than an actual like, oh, what's this new alien thing? Because people know about it. So like they're like performing it. Because I mean, I just remember in college, I was like a freshman in college, like the end of my freshman year, and like I met my first trans person, you know, because Nick mentioned that I was homeschooled, very sheltered upbringing. And like they were my coworker, and I kind of knew, like, I don't know what's going on here, but I was just like, okay, their name's Blake, and they said they want to be called he, him pronouns. I've never heard that before, but why would I call them anything else? Like, why would I make it weird? Like, why would I ask them questions about like what's down there? Like, because that was so wildly inappropriate in my mind. And again, I had no understanding or no education on this. So sometimes when people are like, they don't just know, I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like there's some things as like a decent person, you can just kind of be like, well, why would I make this weird? And I had a coworker who went to the same church as me, who was like very much the opposite, who when this coworker explained that they were trans and I explained what that meant and like how they want to be referred to, they like were like freaking out and like found out their dead name and was talking about how like disgusting it was. And I was like, why do you care so much? Like, I get, like, at the time I was still deeply homophobic. And so I was kind of like, well, like, I get that we don't believe in that, but like, whatever. Like, it was this whole like thing. And so that to me is like transphobia feels like someone else is doing something totally unrelated to you, especially when it's a coworker, and you're finding a way to insert yourself in the situation. And I know there's different forms because there's like family members who don't accept people who like they're part of the situation because they're friends, they're family, and they're choosing that path. But I think for a lot of people who don't actually know a trans person or only know a trans person in a more like secondary way, they're like, they just want drama. They're just kind of inserting themselves in someone else's life.
No boundaries.
Yeah.
Much like how this episode of Transitioning is somehow about Shu, and I forget that they really, really, really made him the protagonist of this show, and it hurts me. It hurts me.
It's been like seasons since we've really got a Will-centric episode.
Yeah. But I mean,
okay,
he will often still, like, if he's appearing, I think it's more often than not that he will still get his own storyline. Like there are a lot of episodes where he doesn't, but I still feel like
he'll get a storyline, or he'll like in a way it'll be about
involved
somebody else, and it's like he's taking over the storyline. It's not like this storyline was written for Will. It's like they're doing this storyline about Sheldon and like an invasive plant, like Will.
Yeah, like some sort of parasite or something.
Speaking of, I definitely want to talk about how if we're still on storyline, and are we?
Yeah, say whatever you want to say, because we're all over the place. Whatever you want to say.
The normal.
I mean, with these other characters kind of taking the spotlight away from Coach Beast, there is something interesting in that Beast says, I think to Sue, I think it was Sue or maybe it was Unique, one of those kind of touching scenes or whatever that was actually Coach centric, where he says like, it's not actually hard that I've transitioned or being trans or being a man now. It's that I'm the only one. I'm the only person in this school. I'm the only person in my community that I know of who is going through this experience. Yeah. And I mean, then of course, obviously that takes the second half of the episode and kind of showing him that he's not alone. But if we think of, I don't think the writer, I saw there was only one writer on this episode, but I don't think the writer or the director were that intelligent to be like, oh, well, by having all of these other characters take away the storyline from Coach, we're actually echoing his sentiment about being so alone in this struggle. But I think when he does have those moments, again, because he's a background character too, like are we really going to have an episode with a background side character be the protagonist? Not really. That's not right. That doesn't fit the bill. But the moments that we have his perspective in a couple of scenes. And he is the protagonist in a couple of his little scenes. And they're really nice. They're really nice scenes. And that sentiment about him being the only one. I mean, we had 14 people in our program. There were tons of gays, tons of bi.
Yeah, I think
one
queer
little
people will split us in half.
Yeah. Yep. And and most of my circles that I'm in, family, friends, work, I'm the only trans person, and of course that's assuming that I know everybody's gender identity, but trans people tend to know. No, just kidding. That's a generalization.
Wait, is there such thing as like a transdar? Is that what you would call it?
No, it absolutely
really
is.
interesting.
For sure.
I never thought about that.
For sure. But that part where he is talking about like it's not actually difficult, being who he is. It's being who he is and being alone. And I thought those were really, really poignant parts of the episode. I also genuinely thought it was fucking hilarious when Rachel was haunting her own house to try to. So the other part of the storyline, I actually thought this was really sweet and touching that the other, like, the B plot of this episode was Rachel transitioning, and sometimes it was A plot and sometimes it was B plot. This episode, Glee is hilarious with this, but with her, she doesn't want, her dads are selling her childhood home. She really doesn't want to, part with it, and all the memories of her. She peaked in childhood, or in high school. That's what she peaked in high school. And that one little moment where she's talking about the things that she's done to try to keep the house from being sold, and she does like a ring girl in the shower. That I laughed out loud. That was really funny to me.
Yeah. So okay, let's we're gonna do 4 storylines. We're gonna do Sheldon. We're gonna do, because I'm gonna separate Sheldon and Will. We're gonna do Sheldon and Will and Blurt and Rachel.
Blurt. I forgot about Blurt. Okay,
me too.
So
wait, we don't call it.
No,
Plain?
Don't call it that.
We call it Blurt.
We don't call it Klain.
No,
I mean,
I like Blurt.
The mainstream calls it Klain, and we're like, the Blurt is so much better.
Yeah, Blurt is really good.
Symbolizes the relationship better.
Yeah.
It's like harsh and like kind of offensive.
Kind of sounds like a fart. Yeah.
Like a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about what comes next, and when I think about what happened in this and the
my God,
storyline, like wild. Okay, so Sheldon comes back to school. They've transitioned. They've been gone for, they say it's a few days, and I'm like, it's one of those things where I'm like, it feels like the timeline is off, but also, what do I know? So
I mean, that's a major surgery, right?
So really, like,
Yeah.
I hadn't. I don't remember the episodes that precede this, but
It was like 2 or 3
not
weeks
a
ago.
couple of days thing, homie. And also, why does he have like really good facial hair? And like, what the? Okay,
because
so
the makeup department did it.
It has seriously. So y'all are saying it's been like a couple of days?
Like it's been a couple of weeks, but we're in the school year. We haven't hit sectionals yet.
We only just found out that he was taking steroids, like 2 episodes ago?
Yeah.
The hormones. What was it? 2 episodes?
Yeah, hormones. Sorry,
I think it was like 3
episodes ago.
But yeah, so
we haven't hit Thanksgiving yet in the school year.
That's the first time we hear about it. But did Sheldon say when he started? Is there like an actual beginning of the timeline?
Well, so when like the episode before he leaves is like, I want to say like 3 or 4 episodes ago. It has to be like 4 episodes because Hurt Locker was 2 episodes. Hurt Locker,
yeah.
It's the jagged little pill episode.
Oh, jagged little tapestry. Rachel's hair extensions.
So at least 4 weeks technically in the series storyline. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it took me 2 years to even grow like chin hair. So
yeah.
Sheldon walks into school and the timeline is off, but whatever. So Sheldon's there. He's back. Sue and Sam greet him. They're so excited to have him back. Sue is like, I do not tolerate bullying. I have to go bully a fat kid.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Classic. Just the dichotomy of it was pretty good.
And then it is funny because she has said she's against bullying before.
Yeah.
But like she is also a bully. It's and then Sam is all like, we have so much guy talk to catch up on. Like even that we like so much about Rachel and the football team. And like, we didn't even do this before, but now we can do it. And he's like, abolitive pronouns that you want to go like they, them, it, they, zer. And Beast is like, yeah, him is good. And yeah, so they're just, they're happy to have Sheldon back. Sheldon feels happy to be back. It is a sweet scene. And, Sam is this lovable himbo who's really carrying all the cis males in Glee right now.
He is.
He is.
And has been.
Yes, majorly.
Yeah, and so just focusing on Sheldon's storyline, they're happy to be back, but then they're walking out of the school and Vocal Adrenaline have thrown a bunch of jock straps on Beast's car and wrote an offensive word, and Sue has Will come in, and Beast is like, I knew stuff like this was gonna happen. I'm not like shocked. Like it still hurts, like it's still upsetting, but like I'm an adult, like I'll be fine. But like Sue is like, that's not appropriate. You need to get a hold of your kids, like your students, like they're out of control.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And Will is like, no one messes with one of my friends, and like has this happen. And Sue is like, I mess with your friends all the time. Nothing ever happens to me.
Also accurate.
And then that'll lead into Will's storyline. And Sheldon has this scene. He's in the locker room, and then, Sam and Spencer come up to Sheldon in the teacher's lounge, and they're like, name names. We're going to beat them up. And I'm like, we have done this exact scene before where the football boys are like, we need to beat somebody up, name names. And they have to be like, hold up, don't do that. And I'm like, it just felt so stale. Like I was like, and then
same scene, different people. And it felt even more weird because I feel like Sam would not do that.
No,
Sam wasn't there, right?
It was Sam and Spencer. That's very Finn.
Yeah, well,
No,
did Finn do it?
Yeah, he did do that.
Yeah. I think it does fit him better.
Yeah.
It fits Finn better. I don't think it fits Sam at all.
Because Finn has always kind of struggled with that masculinity piece.
His anger.
And his anger, his chair kicking. Yeah. No chair was safe. So yeah, it did feel it that way. And Beast is like, don't do that. And then she's like, you're such a team. Like, Spencer, you finally said us. You're finally part of a team. And that's because of you, Sam. And I'm like, excuse me, what is the storyline that we didn't watch? Because Spencer hasn't done anything. Like, I could believe that Sam would have a positive influence on Spencer. I just really haven't seen it other than when Sam like kind of coerced him to join a Glee club.
Yeah.
Hannah, I feel like you have thoughts on this.
No, I don't. I'm drinking a milkshake.
That's how little.
I am busy.
That's how little Hannah gives a shit about Spencer.
Postmodern gay. I refuse to learn his name for some reason. I always forget it every time I look at his face.
I don't even know who you're talking about. I just watched this episode an hour ago.
It's the guy with buzzed blonde hair.
Oh, okay.
That guy.
Yeah, postmodern gay. Later on, the only notable thing I have to say about him in this episode is that later on he fights Kitty for a tutu.
He does.
Yes.
Postmodern gay.
Notes. Yeah.
But honestly, you guys are kind of for me. Like, I will chime in when I actually have something to add.
Okay.
Not put too much strain on your internet there.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, there's no reason to be doing this. So,
yeah, we record all the time without this. Yeah.
I think I literally have to reset it later.
Good luck.
Thanks.
So, and so Beast is just like, don't do that. And then they have this scene, Sheldon's in the locker room, and it felt like dark and creepy, and like they hear someone. I'm like, oh no, is this gonna be like an actual like very upsetting hate crime? Like, I am not cut out for that right now. And then it's Unique. Mm-hmm. Unique, who's just so lovely. And in my notes are, Unique, why aren't you a regular on the show still?
Right.
I'm so much more interested in anything you're doing than like whatever Kurt and Rachel are up to.
I was so disturbed that they didn't even like reference like where this person is.
Yeah.
In the story of the world, like Sue forced like Unique and the other students from last year to different schools. Doesn't even mention like where she went. No idea where she is. Like,
yeah, she just is like available to do all of these random things with these folks.
She's
in this
written
episode over the course of several days. It's like, oh sure, she has nothing else going on in her life.
She's written as like an adult who graduated and can just kind of show up. She's written like the graduated kids, but I'm like, she's
still in high school, right?
Yeah, like what?
It felt like she came out of the ether. I was like, is she actually dead and this is an angel?
Very Rent. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she and Beast talk, and that's when Beast really opens up about like it's hard to feel alone. And Unique's like, you're not alone, like I'm here. She does say, why'd I have to find out my trans gossip from Will? And I'm like, did Will text Unique this? I don't like that. I don't like that Will has Unique's number. But like I like that, especially if Unique's still in high school. But like it was a very touching scene. Like it was this very sweet scene between these two characters. I felt like it was well written, and it was really about how they feel, and like Unique asking like, did it hurt? Like, how does it feel? Like it didn't feel, because Unique is also questioning gender, like it didn't feel like someone asking an invasive question. It felt like someone being very genuine about like what is the experience like.
Absolutely. And I think if this might be a hot take maybe with my fellow trans folks, but I feel like if they didn't if the episode didn't mention anything about the physical or medical transition that Beast, because obviously not every trans person has to or chooses to or needs to go through physical medical transition, so like surgery or hormones, but because that is clearly part of what Coach has experienced, that's like part of this, right? He was out for a period of time so that he could have surgery and somehow grow like really stellar facial hair. And so I feel like if they didn't touch on that part of being a trans person who chooses to medically transition, it would have been disingenuous, in my opinion. It would have been inauthentic. And so having another trans character do that was, I think, the best that they could do. And I think it was really, it was a really smart move on their part, to humanize and just like, not humanize, that was the wrong word, normalize and just kind of bring up questions that anybody is going to be asking, but do it in a respectful way.
Yeah, well, especially because so many times like that kind of transition surgery is treated as like this kind of like, there are a lot of like kind of trans villains even at this time in film and in TV, and like you think of like the Silence of the Lambs, but even like there was like Pretty Little Liars and stuff, and so it's this kind of like duplicity, right? And to kind of treat it as this very like authentic, like, oh, I had this surgery, and it wasn't like some secret lab supervillain transformation. It was just this thing, and to speak about it in this very like human way, you know, I do think, I think you're right that it's important it was a good choice to have that.
Yeah. And I feel like this was really, I don't want to say lucky, but like almost along those lines. If they didn't have Unique, this conversation would have felt really weird.
They would have had to have like Sam do it, and Sam would have to approach it from a place of like dumb innocence, and like it could maybe happen, but I don't think it would have. The humor would have undercut the emotion. Yeah, it would have been more like an adult explaining something to a child instead of like.
And at that point, it wouldn't even really be humorous either. Yeah. Like, but yeah, I think it's really good that they had Unique as a character already and were able to utilize them.
Thanks, Glee Project. Somewhere Julia like sprung to attention. So and then they bring Sheldon to the theater for what is both something for Sheldon to feel more welcome and part of a community, and a way to like teach a lesson to the transphobic pranksters. So the Unique and a trans choir sing I Know Where I've Been, or I Know Where I'm Going. Is that what was the name of the song again?
I think I know where I've been.
Yeah, and it's from Hairspray.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the song like that Queen Latifah?
Yeah, in the contemporary movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And let me pulling up the Glee wiki. So and this was a cool moment with the trans choir, and it like shows Beast that they are not alone, right? They're part of a community. Right. You know, this is where if Glee was out now, they would be saying "You Will Be Found" from Dear Evan Hansen. But
God, you're right.
So
did anyone like Wikipedia the scene or like look into it to see if all of the people that they had on the show were actually trans?
I mean, they
Yep,
really,
they
yeah,
are.
they you could, yeah.
I was getting that vibe, but I just wanted to be sure because I did not research.
I think
so.
even Glee isn't dumb enough to fake trans people acquire like that.
And keep in mind, this is a year and a half after what I consider to be the birth of trans okayness in media, especially television, which is Laverne Cox in Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
And so from that point in 2013 onward, that's when media, especially television, was really trying to be more careful and aware of its authentic casting. And so yeah, it definitely like it was that was a very authentic with this choir, and knowing like in the queer community as well, like choirs tend to be a community just I mean gay men's choirs, like there's trans choirs, like it is authentic on many levels.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I cried. I cried watching this 13 years after the yeah, no,
Got tears also.
Yeah, it was really sweet. And I just totally pretended that Will wasn't there. And every time they showed Sheldon and all the sweet little singing trans people, I was just like, that's fucking beautiful.
That is beautiful. And then the Glee Club kids are just kind of there, and I'm like, this would have been great if it was maybe just for Sheldon. But my favorite thing is imagining Will and Unique are like, because the way they phrase it, like I assumed, oh, this is like a trans choir that they invited. But the way they phrase it is like Unique and Will were like Instagram DMing every trans person in Ohio, being like, hey, can you show up at 10 p.m. at a high school to sing to someone who's, struggling with their acceptance and a group of teenagers who just hate crime them?
Honestly, trans people would like that's my community. I would be there.
Like, why not? What else am I doing at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday?
No, it was good. And Unique's high note at the end like gave me chills. It was really good.
Unique is like the best singer.
So talented.
The best.
Yeah, that's why I was like, why isn't Unique a series regular? Because like they have all this heartfelt emotion. They're a great performer. There's still a story to be told, as opposed to like wringing every inch of story out of these like dried up storylines. Yeah. Speaking of dried up storylines, let's summarize Will. So
Emma's back. It's real Emma.
It is real Emma.
It is not the back.
Oh my God.
Wait.
Yeah, no. Nick, I think we need to clue you in. Last week. Was it last week?
It was last week. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. So the episode ends where they're all like in Will's apartment and like he's got the baby, which Alyssa, is this a different baby in this episode?
It is absolutely a different baby.
Okay, because I literally like I wrote my second line on my notes is that a new fifth baby? But yeah, so and like there's weird shots of like them walking around the apartment, but we never see Emma from the front. It's literally just like, and it's obvious. And so it was imposter Emma. So now this is real Emma.
Little television tricks there.
Oh boy.
No one will know.
Yeah. So I was back. Yeah. So Will is, someone is driving with their muffler on the ground, and Will's in his gas guzzler trying to compete with Taylor Swift to be the biggest contributor to climate change. And he's like, I love my life. I have all these fancy perks and all these boosters. And my goal is to combine the heart of vocal adrenaline the skill and support of vocal adrenaline with the heart and inclusion of new directions. And he's saying this to Emma as they're, pulling a stroller that's like super expensive with the baby. And he's like, let's let him out to play. And Emma's like, outside? He could touch something. And then he's like, ha ha ha, I love your OCD. And
no, that's not what he says.
What does he say?
He says, life is good, and then kisses her. And I'm like, he's a psychopath.
He's a psychopath.
I lost my mind. And that's like 2 minutes into the not even. But then Blaine and Rachel just find him at the park.
Blaine and Rachel,
just find my iPhone find my friends.
They are sharing their location at all times. And so they just show up. They're covered in eggs, and they're like, they tried to decide to bring back the egging tradition. And I was like, yeah, when they egged someone before they egged Rachel because she was a student, like, why are they egging teachers?
Yeah, that's a good way to get expelled and or go to juvie.
Yeah. And they're just like upset. And I'm like, also, why are they hanging out? Because remember when Blaine was mad that Jane joined the New Directions and he was like, I'm so pissed at you?
Yeah, did they ever resolve that?
No.
Right. I don't understand.
It's just
they should not be friends.
Sam made Blaine teach him and Rachel piano because of all the times he shaved his back hair and maybe
why
other
is
hair.
Blaine there?
No idea.
Why was he there for that egging?
It's time for Hannah talks about Ohio geography.
Our favorite podcast.
It's the new Cullen's Corner. So basically, there's so much traveling across Ohio in this episode because we've got Will going back and forth between Carmel and Lima. Then we have Blaine obviously going back between wherever he lives and
Akron,
Lima.
Somewhere with Dave.
No idea.
Somewhere with Dave. Yeah, have a
Well,
leaf.
it's also somewhere close to BG, Bowling Green, which is like, I think that's closer to Toledo, if I remember. I could Google it.
I used to do fencing tournaments at Bowling Green. Or was it Case Western?
Case Western was in Cleveland.
No, I think I liked the Case Western team, but because they were nice and they didn't scream YOLO all the time. And but the tournament was at Bowling Green.
Right. And then also we have all of so Lyle and I have been talking about going to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. That's been on our mind. And he's like, oh my God, the Trans-American Choir.
The Trans-Ohioan.
The Trans-Ohioan Choir also drove from who knows where. So much traveling back and forth. I'm tired.
It's movie magic.
Movie magic. They have Brittany can teleport people, and she's really using that skill. So then he's like, there's practicing You Give Love a Bad Name, and he's like, I'm like, why isn't he there? And then he's like, they even start practicing before me.
Can I also be honest that song sounded like shit? Like it sounded really bad.
None of their performances.
I don't know what you expect.
I mean, none of the post Jake Roth vocal adrenaline. Okay, well, Unique was good on vocal adrenaline, and I guess Sunshine, but like without them, like it's just obviously dancers lip syncing, and like there's no like performance. Like you're not watching. Like a performance is kind of like a story, right? You're just watching like people flipping around.
One performance, which I think they did really, really well without either of those two characters. The pilot performance.
When they did Rehab.
Yeah.
They took time to like arrange that to make it sound like it was a show choir.
Right.
Yes. That's why it sounds better.
Straight up, right out of a studio garbage.
Yeah. That's not even real voices. That's like the choir on GarageBand.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is. And then like that Clint guy is actually singing over it. That's it.
So, yeah. Then he's
That's
like, guys.
That's the budget situation in Glee right now.
guys, you can't be bullying people. Like, we're not about that. And they're like, actually, we are, and we're winners, and you're a loser, and we're winners. And they really predicted Trump's Republican platform. And he's, because I'm like, that's so fucking dumb. I said, this kid is evil. And as I'm saying it now, I'm like, well, no, that's how real politicians run for office now. But and he's like, he does what ultimately probably would alt-right radicalize someone is having to listen to Will Schuester sing Same Love.
God. Oh my God. Guys, I wrote down I put caps lock on. Are you fucking kidding me with this Macklemore? I vomited in my mouth. Yeah, guys, it took some years off of me.
So a little spoiler for the listeners is that the season 6/series ballot is in the works, and we submitted our nominations, and one of the categories is worst time that Will rapped. And, we submitted those this weekend or this past weekend. And I had to text them and say, I would like to amend my nomination for worst time that Will rapped, because this was horrible.
So gross.
Bad.
And so here's the thing. I'm going to throw Matthew Morrison a bone here. There's no saving this rap.
You know what? Yes, you're right.
Like, it's cringy, but it's like, for once, it's not the worst rap Will could do in a given situation.
It's just the worst rap.
It's just the worst rap. Like,
and I'm never ready for the way he does the accents that he does when he raps. Right. Mm-hmm. And Macklemore doesn't even have that kind of accent. Like, no. What are you doing, son?
He starts though when I was third
grade.
I thought that I was gay. And I just remember, I remember when that song came out, like, I kind of homophobic friend said this, but I still think it's true. Like, I'm not gay, but if I was, that'd be cool though. But because, like, that's literally what he's saying. He's like, I was like doing this, and it's all based on stereotypes. It's like the most basic understanding, and the fact that people treat it as so fucking revolutionary when it came out. And I remember talking with my RA, and he was singing like "My Love She Keeps Me Warm," and he was very much singing it to kind of be like, look at how accepting I am. Like, I'm so edgy. And like, that's how people listened to that song. Was like, I am an ally. This is my friend Valentina. She's an ally.
Melinda and I got married that summer, and we had one of her like childhood friends from Oklahoma sent us that music video on our wedding day.
Oh no.
Yes.
That's almost like when the wedding played instrumental 1,000 Years from Twilight during my wedding.
Aw, that's something.
Yeah, that is, my name's Cullen. So he's there, and Unique comes out, Unique, a Vocal Adrenaline alum, and they're all like, sucked.
When he literally was like, I'm going to bring out an alum, I was like, oh my God, it's Jesse. I literally paused because I was like, I'm not ready for this erotic moment. Like, I'm not. And then it wasn't. But I was happy to see Unique.
Like, I think it's just exciting to see Unique.
Yeah.
But I also definitely thought it was going to be Jessie.
Yeah. I was not expecting it. But then it turned out to be Unique. I was like, oh, that's right. Like, she did start in Vocal Adrenaline.
I absolutely forgot that she was in Vocal Adrenaline first.
Yeah, for a second I thought Glee was making shit up, and then I was like, oh wait, no, that's right.
That's not canon.
Yeah, so they sing Same Love, and they're like, okay, well, that sucked. And I'm like, well, fair. And they're like, you're wasting our time, whatever, and we're pranksters. And so that's when they planned the hate crime. And then Will tells them off. He's like, that's not appropriate. That's bad behavior. And he rightfully kicks Clint off the team for being like, I can do this.
Should have done that way earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we all know this man doesn't have a backbone. And at some point, I'm just trying to summarize it. I keep hearing about all these scenes. Like, Will is fussing with the stroller that broke. that was super expensive. It was given by one of the boosters who's like, my gay son likes to win, so he's gonna win in show choir. And giving very much I love my dead gay son energy. And then the Emma is like, you're using your angry man voice. And like, poor Emma has to hear that all the time. And then
also, okay, really quick, she appears in the background behind him in this colonial garb. And I paused it and I was like, this is also a horror movie.
Yes. I was like, wait, is this like WandaVision? Like, what the hell is happening here?
But like, she wears that kind of shit, but I was like, that's another level.
She must not move at all when she sleeps.
Yeah,
that's
she would
the
have
only thing.
to. Because like there's, or is that like two pieces? Like she just has like the shawl on, she takes that off. And then
listen, like nightgowns in general, I don't understand, but that's because I toss and turn like a shit ton.
Yeah, no, like
would that be a moo-moo?
I don't know what a moo-moo like. Well, I think of like an older woman. Like it's not. It doesn't really have much shape to it. It's just kind of like flat. But this has a little bit of curvature to it. But it actually, and maybe it's because I have Halloween on the mind, but I literally was like, you know, the ring girl thing in the shower. And then I was like this, and I'm like, is this actually like a horror movie? What's going on? But then, okay, so she's basically like, well, he's like, oh, you know, like, I love all these things. He's like, I'm pro-capitalist. And then she's like, you know what? Our baby is going to, like, know when you're compromising your values because he's 9 seconds old. And I'm like, okay, kids can sense things, but not that much. Like,
and
picking up on really small adult things.
She's like, our baby wants you to be happy, so you should quit your job. So we have no money for the baby.
No.
Baby will be happy.
This was the weirdest conversation because it's like Glee was trying to set it up as in you should feel guilty for liking all of the things that money can give you. You should feel guilty for liking a lifestyle that everybody in a capitalist society moves towards.
Right.
It was so strange, especially, I think, because the people who wrote the show enjoy a much better lifestyle than I do.
Right. And much better than what Will does.
Very realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was weirdly relatable. I was like,
yeah.
It was really weirdly relatable because, like I was saying earlier, like I'm working a job I hate, but it pays me really well. And I was like, oh my God, for once in my life, like, am I actually Will? Like, what the hell?
It felt strange also because I was identifying with Will.
Yeah, it was one of his most, like, it was really weird. I didn't quite like the messages, but then also I was like
I get it though.
Like the messages in my life then.
Yeah, and I think like the really weird thing, at least for me, is like, so when we first see him like in like his storyline, he's like having that montage in his car or whatever, and like it's very reminiscent of the pilot where he's like driving his jalopy and like,
oh, that's true.
It feels very much like a reference to the pilot where like Terry is very into things, but like Emma's not. She's like, we don't need this stuff. Like it's like,
that's a really good callback.
Do you think? I mean, do you think that was on purpose?
I don't know. I don't want to give Glee that much credit.
I mean, I could see it, especially because in the pilot, isn't he portrayed as being like not well off?
Yeah, he's he's driving a jalopy. He's he's working as a Spanish teacher. Come to find he doesn't speak Spanish. Much later on we find that out. But like he is not making a lot of money, but Terry has all these needs and the things that she wants as in needs. But like now it's sort of reverse where like Will is the one who's like, we're living a much better lifestyle and we want to sustain this. But I have to compromise my values to do that. and that wasn't something he was willing to do with Terry, which is weird. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just like a lot of weird references to the pilot.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. It's like a interesting juxtaposition, but you don't actually know what they're trying to say with it.
Yes, that's the thing.
Glee. That's so Glee.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so Glee.
Look at us. We put these two different things next to each other.
Think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Come up with your own fucking themes.
Yeah, it is interesting to see kind of how, that contrast between his kind of desire for material things. And, I guess the key difference is that Emma could provide him that child that Terry couldn't.
Oof.
Henry VIII energy.
Oh, boy.
Oh my God, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's wild.
Yeah, he was courting Aunt Emma while he was married to Terry, much like Anne Boleyn and Catherine of Aragon.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Is Glee a historical allegory?
Now I actually think we are giving Glee too much credit here.
Don't give it that much.
Oh, sorry, the milkshake's really going to my head.
Yeah. Vocal adrenaline is the Catholic Church, and New Directions is processing. No. Yeah.
And his storyline in this episode, so he comes back. I'm bringing us back.
Yeah, he's like
from the Catholic Church.
He's like, I'm not gonna quit. And because Emma's like, I can't tell you to quit your job. Just like think about this, And so he's like, okay. And he's like, I'm not gonna quit. We're gonna be winners, and because Clint's like, I was reinstated by Principal Gunderson, and then
that was a really good impression.
Thank you.
Tongue out and everything. It was great.
Yeah, catch me at the Academy Awards, accepting the first Academy Award for Best Clint impression. And no one's favorite Glee character. So then Will's like, yeah, we're going to be winners. We're going to do it our way. And we're going to do a prank. And we're going to put lube. And they're going to, not lube, or glue.
No, it was lube.
Lube.
Now, here's the thing. Here's what I have a real big problem with. There's something going on in Lima where this grown man can buy like tons of bottles of KY jelly, like lube, and not get arrested. That's confusing.
I mean, maybe he's just having really slippery sex. Like,
but Will?
Good for him.
No, Will? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Sue would have his face plastered all over town, like, don't sell anything to this man, especially lube. Well, and it would be like, because he uses it as like hair product.
Yeah.
Oh God, true.
Because they're like, you don't think we make fun of your stupid hair and your stupid pep talks behind your back? And I'm like, oh my gosh, is Clint on Gleeboot? And then,
but they also do it to his fucking face.
Yeah. And then, so he brings them in for the prank, and then it's the trans choir, and they watch the performance, and then they're like, well, we hate that. That was a waste of time. We could have been rehearsing. And I'm like, it's 10 p.m. You could have been sleeping, baby. Like,
yep.
Been doing your fucking homework. High schooler. You can't drive. Where you get this attitude from, virgin who can't drive? Because Glenn, none of those girls are sleeping with him. Yeah, and then Sue is like, get out, I'm about to sick my dogs on you. Also, I slashed the tires in your bus. So they took a school bus to pull this prank.
Because they're children who can't drive.
Who can't drive. Or have an Uber account and a credit card. And then, so they have to walk home. Just one of the many ways children are endangered this episode. Because even if they're transphobic for clout, because they're not actually transphobic,
Right.
That's pretty sucky. And I would definitely flag their YouTube videos as problematic or offensive. But they shouldn't have to walk home alone at night in rural Ohio. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're talking like probably 60 miles here because everybody lives that far away from school.
Like, so. I'm pretty sure that's legally child abuse.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Rachel commits a felony because I'm pretty sure those minors had access to alcohol at that party.
Yep, I have big questions about that.
This party.
Yeah, so that's Will quits. He's like, I quit, and I'm like, I wish that felt impactful, but like,
so okay,
we knew it.
What is like? Did you actually read his being like, you know what, I'm gonna like stay here with Carmel High? Like, did you believe that he was actually staying?
No,
I thought he was. Yeah, okay, because I'm saying I thought he was literally quitting, and he was pranking them. He pranked a bunch of children.
Owned. And then
maybe that's why he didn't get arrested. Maybe that's the prank, is he didn't actually buy all that KY jelly.
So yeah, it's just like it's glitter glue or something like that in tubes.
A Will mystery.
Yeah, and so he is talking to Kurt and Rachel, and he's like, you should be a consultant to the Glee Club. And he's like, okay, but you have to make all the decisions, whatever. And they're like, it's so hard to come up with lessons. And he's like, well, what are the kids going through? Like,
what are their personal issues?
And they're like, we don't really.
That was so bad.
So bad.
Like,
every stage of this conversation is bad because he says
like
bad.
That question is literally like, it directly leads you to grooming. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then then they're like, we don't really talk to them. We don't really know.
Yeah. And then she was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You guys are my best friends. That's how the episode ends.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you should get to know them because they might be your best friends. They
and
come
I was
to
like,
be your best friends. And I'm like,
what about Finn? But also, why are these former students your best friends? Why don't you have adult friends? It's troubling.
Yeah, I'm also very confused because I got a notification that I received a compliment on Yelp. And I'm
who is reviewing you,
someone
Clint?
is reaching out to me on Yelp, and I'm confused.
Hold on, you need to open this right now.
I am.
Okay, good.
Melvin, I don't think I know them.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, but like, can you like contact people on Yelp?
Are you a business? Like, review you? How?
0 stars on Yelp.
I received a compliment, is what it's saying. I am so confused.
Hold on, I'm about to Google what is happening. Okay.
And the compliment is, I think, what's up? So I think someone is maybe hitting on me through Yelp.
How? Are you a business?
God.
I gave someone like.
And now all I can think about is people giving reviews on Yelp is actually people hitting on businesses.
I mean, 5 stars for a really great cheeseburger.
I gave someone like a bartender friend of mine, like I gave them a Yelp compliment. Not a compliment, like a review of the restaurant, like, oh, I like this bar and this person's really nice, you know?
Right. And then
I think someone saw that and is
some
now
weirdo like saw that and was like, oh, I'm gonna hit on this person who reviewed this bar. That is, you know what? Actually, that's pretty determined.
I'm very intrigued.
Yeah. Okay, I'm Googling Yelp. This blog is from 2013. And the snippet on Google says the quote unquote compliment button is an easy way to send some good vibes. Find the button on each review, on every user's profile page, and on photos. Clicking the compliment button isn't the only way to give props on Yelp. You, at the bottom of each review, are useful, funny, cool buttons. Pick one and click it, or 2 or all 3 if you liked what you saw. So I think like someone liked your review.
But they said, what's up?
Right.
So
Yeah,
what
they
happened
went the extra
was
mile.
This person is abusing this clearly amazing and useful feature on Yelp.
what happened was they didn't know how to hit on people, so they decided to read the Wikipedia.
You know what?
The most direct.
Yelp.
Yeah. The most
Also-
obvious way. A Yelp compliment.
Yelp.
I mean,
I'm
that's
putting
how I
that
met
on
my
resume.
boyfriend.
I'm putting that like gets compliments on Yelp.
So weird.
Wild. What a time to be alive. This exact moment when I received
Oh my God.
first
What
Yelp
does a
compliment.
compliment cost you? Nothing. But what will it get you? Good karma and a warm and fuzzy feeling.
Oh, they're sticking out for that warm and fuzzy
yeah,
feeling from Cullen.
Oh boy.
Heartburn.
This blog predates this episode of Glee.
Wow. It's over 13 years old.
Over 13 years.
So basically he quits, and he's like, and Kurt and Rachel admit that they don't spend any time getting to know their students. And here's the thing, Will gets to know his students too much. They just like don't give a shit about their students. There's like a happy medium where, people feel comfortable, like students maybe feel comfortable telling you about their life, and you can be like a guiding mentor figure. But you don't expect them to be best friends. Especially like right after they like, maybe you like keep in touch. Like some of my professors, I'll be like, oh, I'm in town. Like we can have lunch and we talk. I guess I still talk to my high school teacher.
Awkward.
Weird.
So
Weird. I call her mom.
Cullen,
Is that embarrassing?
That's so embarrassing. You're literally the people we make fun of in this show. Wow. Cringe. Yeah, you go back to high school like a lot. It's really weird.
So that's Will. Okay. Rachel's.
I want to do Rachel because I love her
You like her storyline?
Yeah,
really?
good for you.
Dude, I don't know.
I think
felt sweet in a weird way.
I would be fine with it. I think in different contexts. Like I think like for me, the Coach B stuff is kind of confounding. Like I don't really understand what Glee is trying to go for. And then they have this Rachel thing, and I'm like, I don't understand what this episode's supposed to be.
They're like, we had to have something in here to appeal to the cishetes.
Yes. Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Transitioning, yes, out of my childhood home.
Well, I mean, Lyle kind of was like
as profound as a gender transition.
Yeah, Lyle was literally like, I'm sorry, are they like equating those two experiences?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, they are.
So Rachel is upset that they're selling her childhood home and they're moving in, and Sam is like, well, I used to be homeless. And she's like, you can't guilt me because you used to be homeless.
Yeah.
This was the most infuriating sentence I've ever heard come out of her mouth.
Yeah.
And
but also,
one of those sentences was they didn't send her to an active crack house. So
I know, but I think this was super infuriating because I could see the words coming out of her mouth as the writers wrote them because they didn't want to deal with Sam's homelessness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also she's supposed to be dating him, like.
Yeah, it was like really dismissive in her.
Yeah,
she's like your homelessness doesn't matter right now. I'm talking about my future homelessness.
This is about me, not you. I have to make everything
You're not
about
homeless
you, Sam.
anymore, Sam. Even though we still think you live in the school because we don't know where you're living.
Yeah,
we don't. And also, like, why? Like, she's clearly with Sam because he's hot.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't think they have any chemistry.
Yeah.
Even when, like, I literally could have watched them have sex, and I'm like, there's no chemistry.
Well, again, I think, I was coming to the conclusion that I think Cord Overstreet and Darren Criss and, maybe even Jenna Ushkowitz for a while have really been carrying the back half of this series.
Oh, yeah.
Like, both emotionally as characters and also just acting-wise. Like, I'm like, they're acting their asses off to make these scenes try and make sense. But like, they can't always save it. And that's part of it. Because I mean, Rachel and Finn had chemistry. You could see why these two opposites were together. But like, I'm like, Sam's hot. So you're like, well, I mean,
yeah, it feels very convenient.
When in Ohio. So because they're like, we need to do something to help Rachel. It's the alums and Kitty. And he's talking about transitioning, and Kitty's like, are you about to reveal your new gender? And Mercedes is like, I just spent a whole week mentoring that girl. Like, what does she need?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we're going to do a lesson for Rachel's, like, help her transition. And so then she's introducing their Buckeye-themed week about icons.
Buckeye Bullseye. Yeah.
Musicians
Ohio.
from Ohio.
Yeah.
And I said, sorry, Hannah, but nothing is good from Ohio.
I am literally
you are the only exception. Haley Williams wrote that song about you in the state of Ohio.
Speaking of Ohio and that song, I actually sang that in our when I was in high school. We had it was called a lip sync. It's basically just like a talent show. Fun fact. I was literally like, okay, I know there are like famous singers. And I literally couldn't think of any except like we talked about Devo a couple weeks ago, who's from Akron. And then I guess like I think is it the Black Keys? Somebody is also.
I was gonna Google it, but I have not.
I can't remember, but I literally but then that was the other thing. Is like, you know what? I think they just picked it because it's like an earnest topic. It makes sense for high school, especially in Ohio. Whatever.
John Legend is from Ohio.
Yeah, but they
really? Where at?
I don't know. They mentioned Marilyn Manson.
They list Marilyn Manson.
And
I was
like, problematic.
I was like, I want this, but I don't.
Yeah.
So speaking of, Marilyn Manson has been in the news lately because he famously was brought on stage at Sunday service by Kanye West, anti-Semite and sexist. And I
missed that update.
Yeah.
No, not the one that Kanye was anti-Semitic. I got that one.
No amount of creative genius excuses that behavior. Just saying that.
Also, Dave Grohl, who shares a birthday with me, is from.
Oh yeah, he's from Warren.
I'm a growler.
So it's literally just so they're gonna sing Marilyn Manson, Foo Fighters, and Devo.
Great week.
And John Legend.
And John Legend,
apparently.
Yeah. So then, but then, okay, and then the next layer to the Marilyn Manson in the news is that, so Taylor Swift recently released the Bejeweled music video, and in it is Marilyn Manson's ex-wife who spoke out about his grooming behavior, a famous burlesque performer.
Yeah.
And so sides are being drawn. Sides are being picked.
I mean, that's a very natural place for Taylor Swift to go, I think.
Yeah, like,
makes sense.
I'm not going to side with the anti-Semite and who was a jerk to me multiple times.
Makes sense. Checks out.
Yeah. See, I can make a joke making fun of her and a joke about, well, you didn't side with the forces of evil, so good for you. So, okay. So they're like, we're actually gonna do this lesson about transitioning. We're gonna do this thing at your childhood home. And then, icon queen, she's an icon, she is the legend, she is the moment. I think her name's Madison. Or Melissa or something. One of the twins. Maleficent. Mallory is like, wait, so this lesson isn't about us? And they're like,
it's iconic.
And literally, like, no, it's not Rachel. Shut up.
Roderick's face when Artie pulls out this wheel. I was like, Roderick is like, I need a new elective.
Yeah, because Mercedes spins it and she gets Roderick and she's like, Roderick? And he's like, I'm Roderick, because she
That's
doesn't know who
me.
it is. And she's
You
been
were
there-
sitting next to me the whole time. Thanks.
He's been there multiple weeks. Like,
Yep.
I know
She
they,
literally had a conversation with him with Postmodern Gay
Yeah.
and a couple other people last week, like during Rachel mentor. Like, why are they mentoring her again? Like can they just send her to therapy?
Like, they make fun of Rachel for not knowing like fucking Ryder's name, but like she never interacted with those kids. But like,
yeah,
Mercedes is legit interacting with these kids. Like,
yeah.
it doesn't, like, why can't these kids get any semblance of a storyline, even if it's about Rachel mentoring them?
And honestly, I feel like these kids have enough to go to Sue and be like, we have clear proof that we're not getting the education that clearly was promised to us. You can shut down the Glee Club for once and all now.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so, like, because before, like, she was like, I'm shutting it down. It's like, well, okay, Shu's like, he's actually making things happen. These teenagers who don't have any credentials are like,
they're just hanging out with their friends and singing songs and like making these kids watch. Like, they're not they're not trying to recruit enough people for sectionals. They're not trying to like help these kids or even just teach them about music.
Nope,
Like,
nothing.
Yeah, now every time you get an email, I'm wondering if it's a Yelp review about me. But
oh my
God. Yeah.
So then there's this party.
There's this felony that happens.
Yeah.
Where they're at this party and, you know, Sam's bartending. He tells, I think, Kurt he put a little extra in it for Blaine or something. So that means there is alcohol at this party
so
where there are these minors.
They did the wheel thing, and that was, what was that for? It was to pick partners.
Okay, and Roderick is like, you could have pulled from a hat, and Artie's like, whatever.
Well, Artie's all about the wheels, but like it. But no, like I just didn't understand that because I'm like, okay, sure, but also only one of the actual students gets picked.
Well, I think there's this shot that implies Artie and Spencer did an off-screen duet.
Yes.
Spencer's having...
Oh, I missed that.
I kind of laughed at that. I was like, oh, okay, we don't get to hear Artie sing? Cool, fine.
Spencer's having a whole, like, TV show off-screen. Like, his whole character.
Well, I mean, so is Roderick, so is Jane, who doesn't talk.
Yeah. Poor Jane. Like, the fact that she went through all that with Leah Michelle for
and
this
like doesn't
role.
even get it's so devastating.
For a role that gets, like, less attention and screen time than, like, Sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like... Yeah, so they're
definitely serving alcohol to minors.
Yeah, they're serving alcohol to minors. And you know, Mercedes and Roderick do a duet. I have deep feelings about Meghan Trainor in that all her music is like kind of sexist, but in a like, okay, I guess it's cool if you want that, but like also like
I loved this song when it first came out. It was one of those early 2015 must have been the year of like oh my God, like trans diversity, let's make it a thing. Fat people, we accept them now. And oh my God, look at this video where it's like these chubby people dancing. Right. Wow, so accepting, so tolerant. Wow. And I remember there was like a brief like excitement about this music video and like brief excitement about the Macklemore thing. And then you realize, at least with the Macklemore thing, that it's like super cringe. The Meghan Trainor song, like that song still hits. Like it's got it, maybe not the lyrics, but it's like a, I don't know, it's a hype song. I don't know, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed Mercedes.
I always say that, I mean, this song is clearly because Mercedes and Roderick have beautiful voices and they want to put them together. Like, that's why this happened. But the fact
also
that
they're
like,
two bigger people,
and also they're
Yeah, and so
this song isn't because they have beautiful voices together. The song picked was because they're larger people.
Yeah.
They could have done any song and made it beautiful together.
Yes,
and honestly, something way better, because I honestly don't think Mercedes' voice is good in this. Like, and it's not Mercedes, it's the people who produce the track. They're just like, we just want you to sing like an alto, thanks.
Yeah, it's also, I was saying this song is all about that gaze, male gaze. Because it's the whole point of the song is just like, boys like it, so you can be a person, you know, like it's, which again is very 2015, but like, I remember thinking it was just kind of cringe. And, you know, fun fact, our classmate went to high school with Meghan Trainor.
Yeah.
Oh.
Joe Apatow, yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So they sing that, right? And then meanwhile, during the performance, so the felony adds up. So Rachel brings a bunch of minors to her home that she's kind of a teacher to. They're given alcohol, and then she leaves them to go make out with Sam in her bedroom, her childhood bedroom.
Make out? Yeah, okay, that's what they were doing.
They were doing like under the pants stuff for sure, at least. But like, I was so devastated by this because not devastated, but like confounded, maybe. I'm using that term a lot today. I was like, this is her house. This is the second house party she's through, because the first one, she was like panicking. And all of a sudden it's their second house party. They're about to, you know, sell the house, whatever. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go upstairs and have like a moment with Sam. No one's noticing. No one cares. And I'm like, this is the host of your party. There are children downstairs drinking. Like, what is going on?
Well, also, where the hell are all of the boxes? Where are her dads? Well, they separated, so there should be at least one, right?
Yeah.
One dad.
Goldblum's not here. Yeah.
Yes. Where is her dad? Where are all of the things like that indicate moving? Having a party right before you move, like the night before, is the worst time to have a party in your house.
That's a nightmare. So there's drinks everywhere. They're like pulling out costumes and like
literally they were unpacking a box, and I just about had an aneurysm.
My aneurysm came from the fact they're trying to tell me that these are Rachel's costumes. I was like, absolutely not. She would never own any of this shit.
Well, I soothed myself by telling myself somebody else brought the box, somebody else is going to pack it and take it out of the house. You don't have to worry about it. So in my head canon, it was not Rachel's box.
Yeah, maybe, who would it be? Maybe like Artie brought it. I feel like he would have some like costumes for like a stupid short film.
The feathered boas.
Yeah, the tutu.
Yeah.
But I think like this is so much more disturbing than the Blame It on the Alcohol episode, which I think like our guest like did not like, and I think we were just like, whoa, what is this episode? This is bananas because it's literally adults serving alcohol to minors, not minors having alcohol with other minors.
Yeah, it's very different things. It's like how a lot of teenagers do have sex, but it's usually with other teenagers.
Right.
And that is the key difference. Once you're putting an adult in there, it's
not okay.
It is a crime before all the forces of the universe. So there comes up to Sam and he's like, oh, because she has the picture wall up. And it's like, oh, you have this picture of me in my little sparkly gold shorts, even though like we were never really friends in high school.
No, not
I guess
at all.
they did go to prom together, sort of, but then Jesse was coming along.
Yeah. I think that was the first time that Rachel learned his name too in that episode.
Yeah. I remember when you like caused drama and made me have to admit that I was homeless. Fond memories. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So she has that picture up, which weird, but you know, at least it's a collage of a bunch of pictures, but it's like a shot of him like being uncomfortable in it. It's not a shot of like the cast or the performance.
Is it like a movie still? Or like the still from the show?
It's a still from the episode.
Yeah. I was like, I don't think I actually looked at it.
Yeah, because it's when he was saying, hey, this is a little uncomfortable, Will.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Will's like, all right, I'll put it on. I'll dance for my future wife and climb on top of her and terrify audiences of America with Creature of
I remember that.
And Ireland. We have a lot of Irish listeners and other parts of the world, the rest of the world. All the world suffered from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's what makes us human. So
that
brings us
part,
together.
we also had we were on Rachel, so yeah, they went upstairs.
yeah, we'll get to Blurt after we.
Did they sing Cyndi Lauper before or after that?
After.
After. So yeah, because
And this is either post makeout or post coital Cyndi Lauper, and I'm here for it. I think it was a great choice.
Yeah, because he says, Sam again. Why I wrote like he's the only well-adjusted adult who seems to have like moved on from like childhood, and now he's like, these will be memories, and you'll have a bigger wall, and you'll have more friends and more memories. Like you're not just gonna peak in high school, like you're gonna go do the great things, and you'll have these fun memories. And it's a dumb line, but like me and I'll always be there in sparkly gold shorts, but like that memory, that like friendship that we had will always be part of your memories. And he takes that picture off the wall in this later scene in a scrapbook. In a burn book. Yeah,
I literally wrote Sam Evans is a fugly slut.
But like, you know what? A picture like that belongs in a scrapbook, not on your wall.
Yes, I have all my high school like photos and even like early college. Like I made scrapbooks.
Yeah.
I never really look at them, but I don't want to get rid of them because it's like maybe one day I'll be like, oh my God, like look at me and like my high school friends. Like, oh, I don't talk to that person, but like, oh, I still talk to this. Like, I do like to have those times. I'm certainly not gonna just slather it on my wall.
Again, Alyssa's lived with me. I decorated more with notes, but with some with pictures. That's how I decorated for many years. Now they're all in scrapbooks. I also have scrapbooks, but I also didn't have pictures of 16-year-old boys half dressed on my wall.
Yeah,
I can confirm.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna say. I actually don't even think that photo should be in a scrapbook.
Well, again, it'd be different if it was like, hey, here's us performing, and that's what he was wearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just like him standing, but like. Again, if you have a picture, if your high school did an edgy play, and you have a picture of someone partially dressed, in the cast. Don't put that on your wall. Put that in an album with other pictures from that play. So it's part of that memory, not like look at the sexy twink,
Yeah.
But yeah, no one in Glee knows what boundaries are, or like healthy relationships and ways of viewing children. So they pack up. So yeah, they sing Time After Time. Sam and Rachel making either bedroom or post-coital eyes at each other. And Kitty takes a picture of it, and then they're taking the alumnus and Kitty, another teenager, are taking down her room and packing it up, and Rachel's moving on. Nice sequence, I guess.
She's transitioned.
Into not her childhood home.
So where is she going? Does she move in with like her dad into another place, or does she get an apartment?
I'm thinking
that she's homeless.
I'm thinking Blaine might need a roommate. I don't know what's going on with that lease.
What? You're right.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about Blurt. Let's talk about Blaine being a motherfucking cheetah. This is a pattern, Blaine Anderson.
Yeah, I mean,
he's so pretty though.
I know he is so. That's why I'm like, he's acting his ass off. He's doing these big doe eyes and
my original Harry Potter right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kurt moves. So I thought Blaine and Dave had broken up when they found out they were third cousins.
Yes, I did too. I was stunned. And of course, I had to explain that to Lyle. I was like, yeah, well, they're dating, but they're actually their cousins. So.
I didn't know this. Wow.
This was a couple episodes ago. Sue was like, yeah, I did like your ancestry thing, and you guys are third cousins. And then we kind of conversed that was like, you know what? third cousins, smaller town, like it's bound to happen. It's probably a lot more common than we want to think about.
So then, Kurt nudges it and he's like, just don't tell Dave that we sang a duet. And he's like, yeah, because he still thinks there's something between us, because there is. So they sing, what do they sing?
Well, before that, when they have the wheel, like
Kurt nudges.
Oh, yeah, Kurt.
Oh, okay. That's what you said. Got it.
Yeah.
He cheats.
Yeah.
So they're both cheaters. Dirty cheaters. They deserve each other.
Perfect. Too. Yeah.
Yeah. They sing "Somebody Loves You." That's when they're Sam and Spencer and Kitty are fighting over the tutu. Everyone's dressing up. Those twins acting their asses off. They're flailing around. They're running around. I'm like, for the bit fucking parts you were given, you're like, this is my moment in the sun, baby.
Yeah.
They're dancing around in those gold pants. That's a theme on Glee. Gold pants.
I do think it's wild that they give the twins more lines than they do Jane, and Jane had some actual like substance when we first met her. Like there's something weird happening. Like like something we clearly know what it is
in the state of Lima. Yeah.
But it's just like it's so strange.
Yeah. So yeah, they actually, Blaine says that's our best duet since our first duet, Baby It's Cold Outside. And I'm like, but actually, okay, yeah. They did sound really good.
It was really good.
They sounded really good. It was really fun because a lot of Klain duets are a bit of a snooze.
Yeah. No, it was good. I enjoyed it. I like that song and I love gay shit. So it was I enjoyed it.
Artie did introduce them as everyone's favorite two gays. And I was like, I don't know if Kurt would be my favorite, but Blaine could make it. Yeah. But he's a cheater, so maybe not. But they, they're, because it's fun. I don't know. Maybe it's just like when I think of they did like, I Just Can't Get Enough at Will's wedding. And it was like, well, no one wanted that. And anyway, anyways, they are talking about their chemistry and how Blaine was into Jeremiah, who worked at the Gap. And I'm like, oh, this was so long ago.
Yeah, and they're literally like, I wonder what happened to him. He's probably homeless now. You guys basically like ruined his life. It's all your fault.
Okay, that's a bit of a stretch, Hannah.
I don't know. I don't think so. It's all their fault.
And I feel like they're actually talking about how. Oh my God, Suki!
Suki hated my take, and you know what? I apologize. I rescind it. Suki, you're right.
Oh my God!
Suki's like,
that was too far. That was a bridge like, too far.
Don't say that about Klain. What did she knock over?
Like my entire right side of my desk.
Oh. She had places to go.
Trying to get up on the windowsill, which is about 2.5 inches big.
Oh.
Cats do, but at the same time, she doesn't.
It's because she's all about that bass.
Got that bass, no treble, but all trouble. So much trouble.
All trouble. I have no idea what I was in the middle of saying something. I don't know what.
Yeah, you were saying that like they're talking basically about is I think what you said.
Oh, like moving on and getting over each other. Literally, the theme of this conversation is moving on.
Because they're like,
they're transitioning out of their relationship
after their like 35th breakup, and they're like, but you're like, it's amazing how someone can mean so much to you and suddenly not. And I think that's actually a really interesting message, especially when you're talking about like high school and college and like relationships that kind of fade. And so, but it's Glee, so high school sweethearts are destiny. And
knowing what the next episode is too just gets me. I can't say anything. Alyssa's never seen it, so.
Yeah, so Blaine just kisses him. And Kurt is like, oh. And then Blaine's like, I gotta go.
Oh, I just have to express my pleasure at whatever Kurt is wearing at this moment. I think this is the most like dapper I've ever seen Kurt on the whole show.
Yeah, this is Kurt's best outfit since like the Love Shack.
Since ever. I think it's his best outfit.
Yeah, no foxtails here. And so so he runs off, and then because they have to get up at 5 a.m. for the Bowling Green intramural football game. And so they're coming back in, and Dave's complaining that they're gonna lose because of fat ass Craig or whatever. And he's like, hey, you've been like really distant for days, which is weird because that happened yesterday. So he's like, yeah, like Kurt and I sang a duet. And he's like, okay, whatever. You sing all the time. And then he's like, well, he's like, oh. And then he's like, just tell me that, like he kissed you. And then he's like, doe eyes.
This was an incredibly one-sided conversation where Blaine didn't say anything. No. It was all his face, which is, I mean, that good acting, I guess. Like, there you
go. They needed so badly to get Blurt back together. They were just like,
they're running out of time.
We gotta make this guy. We gotta make what's his name, Dave, perfectly fine with it because there's only so many episodes left of this show, and we gotta get them together. So there can't be any conflict. Yeah. No
normal human emotions here. Yeah.
I'm only inserting my camera right now because during this scene, I frankly don't remember anything that they said because I was so distracted. I want you guys, can you see that? I want you to look at that sink. Look at both sides of that sink.
Melinda noticed that. Why? Melinda noticed that. She's like, there's 5 sponges.
No, there are 8 sponges. There are 4 on each side. I took a video so we can put this on social media, but there's a full fucking thing of soap unopened, not even dirty dishes, and then like a cock right here. And by cock, I mean it is a cock-shaped like pitcher. So
they did not know what a kitchen looks like.
Yeah, this is the first time Glee.
The sponges.
I lost my mind. I
definitely noticed that as well.
I think I was too distracted by the fact that Dave is just like, it's okay. You're meant to be
chill.
At least I got a few good months in with my hot little twink before he cheated on me, and put me in my place as a fat person to date fat ass Craig who tried to slip me his number. Like I reached for the stars and got to taste that, and now I'm content going back to my peasant days.
Yes.
It's just horrible. Like it's one thing if he's like, good, you guys are always together or like are meant to be, and by dating anyone else you're wasting each other people's time, like you deserve each other, something like that. Like even just if he's fully pissed and Blaine has to feel guilty about it, but like he's just like, go off, be free. But like no, like you didn't just say I think I still have feelings for Kurt, like you kissed him, you didn't just flirt, you kissed, like it's like there's. And so it's, he's Blaine cheated again. I mean, because he cheated on Kurt, and now he's cheating on Dave.
For this Dave guy.
Yeah, and Dave just is supposed to take it like a champ and be like, whatever. And I'm like, no, like you have a lease together. You moved in together. Like you have decided to like have a life together, and he like can't even give you that respect. Like
I kept waiting like literally till the end of the scene to get more of an emotional response from Karofsky. Like I thought he was gonna cry at the end after Blaine walked out, and he didn't. And I was like, okay, so that feels very strange now because all of the emotion that should have happened didn't. Okay. Yeah. I thought he was waiting until after Blaine left, and that actually would have been pretty good because but
we did also have to save our emotions for the coach stuff in this episode. So keeping in mind that we couldn't have too much like low emotion and too much like raw emotion, just remembering that there's this whole other storyline that was happening in this episode.
Yeah. And that's like another thing is that like, I think it's a good point, Alyssa, like this scene is going to be more effective when there's actual emotion involved. But like Nick, you also make a good point that like, but they can't have both. It's just going to be way too much. So it's like, I don't understand what their point is with these.
Because they gotta get them so
there.
that we can have what happens next.
But it's just like it just feels because essentially Karofsky was brought back on the show as an obstacle, not as a person. And that, I mean, it's writing. It's not like he's a real, I mean, the actor's a real man, but like, you know, but like it's just like this relationship only existed as like a temporary obstacle between Kurt and Blaine, and it just shows because they just like he's absolved of it so quickly.
Yeah.
Like there are whole sitcoms that could be based on the premise of how do we live now? We have a lease together.
Yeah. That's the title of the sitcom you're writing.
Of the alternate Glee universe.
And they were roommates.
And so Blaine runs back to Kurt to tell him how he feels. And he runs to the school where he randomly is, even though it's supposed to be like a Saturday. And he's meeting up with Rachel and Sam, and he's with Walter. Yeah, Walter's still here, the catfish. And they're going on a double date.
And Rachel is super cool with this. Like, did they ever have a conversation like, oh, so the guy that you thought was like in his 30s turns out he's in his
why does he look 80?
Because he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
Did you just say in his 30s, Hannah?
Yeah, I think that's what his photo was supposed to be.
Oh, yeah,
like because he catfished, right?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that he was in his 30s.
Yeah, he's been a smoker all those 30 years. No, yeah. So it's like, that's kind of something that like, I don't even remember who addresses it. Does Kurt ever talk to anyone about Walt?
I mean, Sue harasses them.
Right. But it's like he doesn't go to a confidant, which is weird because like it feels like even though Kurt is surrounded by all these people that he knows and like were his family basically at one point,
he's very isolated.
Yeah, so alone. It's so strange.
Like Kurt and Rachel are supposed to be running the Glee Club together, and you barely see them together.
Yeah.
And they actually kind of make fun of the fact that you never see them together, or that like Kurt can't do anything by himself, except he's always by himself. It's just weird. It's weird.
So weird.
Yeah. So Rachel and Blurt, all weird. And so, yeah. So Blaine's just like, oh, and I just have to go. And I'm like, fuck. Like, it just feels, at this point, it feels like they're like, if Dave was a random obstacle relationship, oh boy, is Walter. Like,
Walter's like a stone on the sidewalk you just have to step over.
Yeah, it's just
Karofsky was like, oh, there's a boulder in the sidewalk. I can still step over it, but I could trip and hurt somebody or myself.
Yeah, you're not gonna trip on Walt because he's a pebble.
Exactly.
Yeah, it like may make your bike shake a little, but yeah. I love allegory.
Went from walking to
biking. Yeah.
You're on your skateboard. I mean, I don't know what happens on a skateboard. Never done it. Never met a skateboard.
Never met a skateboard. So yeah, that's all the storylines.
That one was so tired. That last storyline.
Yeah, the Blurt stuff is so, because Kurt was so cold and cruel to him when they broke up. Yeah. And then he's like, now I want you back. And it's just so messy and toxic at this point. But in this
episode, he doesn't. Well, he does, because he does like the nudging of the thing. Yeah. They have a weird hug really early in the episode. Yeah. I have no idea what goes on in that scene, but Kurt doesn't hug him back. It feels like unwelcome. Well, it's so strange.
But Kurt is dating Walter, but he nudges the thing to sing with Blaine.
It kind of feels like maybe they actually had stuff for Kurt for this episode, and maybe they just switched it to Blaine.
Or cut it. Maybe they just had too much.
Yeah, maybe it's like Spencer's TV show.
Yeah, it feels. traditional gay and postmodern gay. That's what it's called. Yeah. No, it feels like something was happening with Kurt, like that something got cut because it doesn't feel finished.
Yeah. Or Chris Colfer was like, I'm running a lot of stories. Like, you get me for 30 minutes on a Tuesday. So, okay. MVPs and LVPs? No.
Wait. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Tina time. That's right. We still do it, baby.
Tina wasn't here. If she was here, when they were like, this lesson isn't about us, Tina would be like, yeah, I get used to it. Everything's about Rachel. And then she would see that Kurt nudged the sign and she'd be like, Kurt, you can't keep doing this to Blaine. Blaine is happy with Dave and you can't just mess things up because you're back in town and you're horny. And then she would, when Rachel went to go make out with Sam, she would be like, yeah, I made out with Sam once. Like, you can have my sloppy seconds, Rachel.
Yeah.
This episode would be nominally better. Not that much better, but just a little better with Tina in it.
Just a little better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a Gleeboot pitch. This storyline with Coach Beast, I feel like the weird duet things that they have with the students is so pointless that, like, I feel like they should have used singing to actually, like, help Coach Beast transition into this new life with being the school. That's my pitch. I don't really know where I'm going with it, but just like it would have been way more integral. It would have actually been Sheldon's story.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Could have even
because
tackled...
they feel really, really disjointed.
Yeah.
The two stories, or his story and then all the other things. And that's, I mean, again, that's like because he's not one of the main characters. He's literally a sports coach and he doesn't do the singing. Like, so having, I could see why.
But
he sang Jolene.
Did he?
And that weird other country song.
And Mean by Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And also, but they have regularly included Coach Beast in certain musical numbers or, you know, what have you. Yeah. And so, like, it feels like a natural setting to actually, I think, do justice rather than have, like, performative transphobia. Yep. It's like, why can't we just make it about this person's life and, like, you could focus on the isolation? You could
even just, if you wanted to be about the students, use him coming back as a catalyst to talk about gender. Not like everyone needs to suddenly explore their gender. Mm-hmm. Be like, well, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a woman? Yeah. They could sing Shania Twain's Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I was just going to say that. Has that ever been done
Shania Twain.
No.
They never did Shania. Which means they did good because Shania got away unscathed.
Wow.
But yeah, I just feel like we
both thought about that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just there needs to be something different with this because I felt it was disingenuous because, like, they're just using this. They could again, and we could have explored gender with a character we already, like, knew was going through this and that we genuinely cared about and was a student.
You could have, Unique could have still been at the school. You could have had Unique, you could have it be a Unique storyline and maybe they're not, like, transitioning, but they're putting a label on it. Like, I'm genderqueer or I'm non-binary.
I've seen that argument a lot, or not argument, but that take a lot on this episode, and that it was really one of the reasons that people felt it was disingenuous was because it feels really sudden and really like unprepared that this is Sheldon's story and not a main character or somebody who we already had established was genderqueer, right? But this is often how many trans people come out as trans to their communities. my family was shocked when I moved to Boston and then came to visit them, and I was Nick. Like, I literally moved to Boston as a different person, essentially. And it's really it is sometimes part of the experience of being a trans person that you are going to surprise people, and you're going to have people say, I didn't see that coming, or people will try to figure out the hints, the little flags that were raised along the way. And you know, I've seen arguments that, well, Beast was struggling with what was finally accepting that he was just like a masculine woman, and like his femininity, like, well, a lot of there are trans people who maybe had a period of time where they were really I, for myself, like speaking for myself, like I really resonated with the lesbian community for a period of time, but then realizing, oh wow, that really is not me. That journey that I went through to get to where I am, yeah, I still you know, there's a sense of like, okay, that was a great community, those were really important lessons that I learned, but it still wasn't me. But that's still only my story to tell. And oh well, if it shocks people, and if it seems abrupt or unplanned or you know, people couldn't prepare for it themselves, I think that's a big argument I've seen with this. And my pushback is always like, well, that's being trans, baby. Like, that's sometimes how it is. Well, it is sometimes easier to just rip the Band-Aid off than to, and I know it's a show, it's not real life.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think my issue is that it feels like the writers. It doesn't feel genuine to
the character.
Not just that. I see this as like a convenient writer choice, unfortunately.
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just like harping too much on that, but like, I mean, that's sort of my main reason.
Both. I think it can be both. Like, it's
that's
representation, true. But it is it is convenient representation. It is
right. I mean, and that's what Glee does.
Representation, but it's still representation.
I mean,
that's true.
I think Nick is really right, especially because if this character is like a side character, right? Like, we don't spend a lot of time in their head, so it also makes sense that like this would be surprising to like Sam and Rachel, who like don't, you know, like know everything that's going on in Beast's mind, or Will, who like only spends time with Beast in a condescending way.
None of these characters that we spend the most time with pay attention to anyone else.
Yeah, no, I mean, we get that with Rachel being like, your homelessness doesn't matter, Sam. Mine does.
So yeah, it does make sense. And it is even like with coming out. I mean, I think most people when I came out were like, oh, I kind of got that. And then, but there were still definitely people who were like, I'm totally, utterly shocked. You know, this came out of nowhere. And even for me, it was just like after years and years of like, hiding that, it was just like a moment where I was just like, oh yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And I think like, that's a really good point. And I also think that my aversion to this, I think also comes from the fact that like I had a very different coming out experience than I think a lot of people, that like, it was very much not a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just like didn't really matter. And maybe that's because I'm bi. And so like, maybe people in my family are like, oh, well, like she could be straight. And also like I'm in a hetero relationship. So like, yeah, I mean, I guess I am just kind of harping on Glee too much.
Yeah, well, because we have to watch it week after week. Yeah, that's sometimes where it is nice to have the guests come in with like, oh, well, this is something that was really cool about this episode. Opposed to we are like in the trenches.
Yeah, and like totally, like Nick, I'm actually really glad you were here to give me more perspective, because I literally was like, I had said at the top of the episode, I literally thought this was horrifying.
All right.
I hated it. No, I get it.
Oh,
All
God.
right. Okay, what was Nick? What was your least valuable player?
Oh, Clint, that nasty loser.
Yeah.
Awful.
Same. That's who I have.
Is it really
anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, it's Clint. Like, as much as Rachel sucked and Blaine's a cheater, but you can't beat Clint.
Yeah. Clint was, if Will was in this episode, it'd be unanimously chose Clint.
Yeah. Okay. Nick, who's your MVP?
That would be Sheldon, followed by Unique.
Yeah, I went with Unique. I really just miss this character.
Yeah.
To have an actual interesting person in the main cast, I miss it.
Yeah. Alyssa?
I'm gonna go with Coach Beast. Yeah. Sheldon, we don't get their wow. Perspective is the word that I'm looking for here. Pretty much we haven't gotten his perspective for a really long time, and I think this was a really good episode. Number one, for his perspective, and just as him being a transgender person was very abrupt, but also I think that it was done fairly well, at least for Glee. This is a Glee episode. They did pretty good with it.
Yeah, they were trying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
that's shows. The thing is you can see that they are actually taking care. Whereas we kind of talked about Sue's weird flipping flopping with how she feels about transgender people, with what happened with Unique and stuff, and then however you land on the jokes, but it is actually taken with a lot more care than a lot of other things.
Yeah. This is
it only took 6 seasons.
A lot more sensitivity than Blaine potentially being bisexual or Marley's eating disorder or
God,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, my MVP, I mean, it's got to be Sheldon and Unique because they have the best scenes and stuff. Again, Sam is carrying the men of this world, being lovable and hot. But I mean, that Sheldon and Unique moment was actually legit beautiful when they grabbed hands. Yeah.
I'm still not convinced that maybe Unique is just an angel. Literally. Where is she? Where is she staying? Where is she going to school? I'm very scared for her. But she looks great. She's doing great, clearly. So maybe fine. I shouldn't be worried.
Yeah, she's happy she's not on the show. Our music is You Give Love a Bad Name, Same Love, All About That Bass, Somebody Loves You, Time After Time, I Know Where I've Been. Nick, what was your least favorite song?
Macklemore.
Just the Macklemore parts of Same Love.
I agree.
Definitely.
Hannah agrees. Alyssa?
Yeah, because even the normal song, sure, if we cut out all of Macklemore, I can listen to that woman singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that is my favorite part of that song.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You don't like thrift shop rappers singing this song about when he was 3, he thought he was in 3rd grade, he thought he was gay.
But he's good at Little League.
Yeah, so he can't be gay. There are no gay baseball players.
Wow. I mean, I guess I'm gonna go with that one because Will was rapping. I feel a lot of no, never mind. Okay, continue.
Yeah. Same Love. Fuck that song. Fuck this cover. It's not even that bad of a cover. It's just the source material. All right. Nick, what was your favorite song?
The what do we call them?
Blurt, yeah.
I really liked that. I got really into that performance, and I really liked the song in general. I mean, the last song, the Hairspray song was beautiful with the 300 trans people coming from all
the trans Ohioan choir.
It's called on the wiki the Trans Persons Choir.
Yes, but in terms of like, if I would put the song on my Spotify and listen to it, it would be the Blurt cover of that gay song. It's gay because they sang it.
Yeah. I went with Time After Time. Love a Cyndi Lauper number.
Which one is that?
Sam and Rachel.
Yeah.
That was
post-coitus.
That was really good.
The 80s ballad. If you're lost, then you will find me.
Listen, I know the song, but I am having. Oh, is it the one where they're putting all the pictures away?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Wait, and actually didn't get a moment to say the little like GIF effect that's happening on the photographs, the like magic Harry Potter photographs. That was really sweet. Like,
it was cute.
I looked
at little heartstrings going.
I watched that and I was like, oh, look at their 2D track. Someone pushed the picture and they didn't track it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my brain was in full VFX mode at that point. Let's see. The song that like hit me the hardest emotionally was the one Unique sings to Sheldon, but I don't remember what it's called. What is it called?
I Know Where I've Been. The last one with the choir?
Yeah, the choir.
I Know Where I've Been.
That one was my favorite.
That was beautiful.
All right. I'm going with the Somebody Loves You, because it was their like best duet ever. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah, but this had better music than a lot of the episodes this season.
I wrote down 4 songs when I was watching it, and I like the stupid Meghan Trainor song, but there were some bops in this for sure.
Yeah. So we're officially transitioning out of talking about transitioning.
I love that we keep making this joke.
Nick, is there anything you would like to plug?
Well, my cat just walked by. But no, I'm not cool. I don't do anything that would be plug worthy. Watch the next episode of Glee and listen to the next episode of Gleeboot because it's very special. My little Britannia heart.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very special episode of Glee and of Gleeboot.
It's very memorable.
Oh, I can guess now. Now I can guess. Okay.
You're gonna see the title of the episode. You're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, you'll know.
Yeah,
it's not a clever title at all.
Yeah.
You can follow Gleeboot on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We are at Gleeboot Pod. I literally only drank a milkshake. No idea why I'm slurring. And you can also follow us on Tumblr, gleebootpod.tumblr.com.
You can follow me on Instagram at CullenEverAfter.
Follow me on Instagram at a.m.swearingen for all of your art content, or maybe like 1% of it. I'm not going to say
all of your art content. That's bold. I love it. So stick with
confidence.
it.
Yeah.
One 1%.
Change your bio.
The confidence.
Keep it. Yeah.
Stellar.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you guys for having
so
me.
much.
Oh my gosh, yes, thank you.
I'm sad that there's not another trans episode in these last 5 episodes that y'all have that you can have.
Oh God, we're so close, guys.
So close.
I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it still feels so far. What do you think of all things we're doing to end this podcast on a powerful note?
Yeah.
What if you guys ended on you guys should end it on New Year's? I know that's a couple months away, but
well,
New Year, no more Glee.
well,
close.
All right. Well, listeners, tune in next week. We have a special crossover with the gold standard of Glee podcasts.
Yeah.
Gleek of the Week.
Literally our role models.
Yeah.
Didn't they start the podcast after ours?
Yeah, I think so.
And they're still our role models. I stand by that.
Yeah, but maybe we're also their role models.
Oh, I love that. I hope they're like, no. But we'll find out next week.
You know, they did a poll and they're like, who are some of the favorite people we had on as guests? And someone put Gleeboot.
Oh my God.
Hell yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. All right. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Gleeboot.